Hello, my name is Brayden Husky.
And I'm Austin Morales, and you're watching The Inner Gamer On.
And today we're going to be talking about the Halo Infinite delay, and it was pushed back to 2021. And what does that mean for Xbox Series X? We have a lot to dive into, and it's gonna be something crazy. 2020, it keeps getting more interesting. Let's dive in.
And as always, if you enjoyed this content, please like, subscribe, and bang that bell. And you know you want to, because all you subscribers, thank you so much.
Each week we dive into a hot topic about video games, and this week we got a fiery hot topic coming at you right here at the Inner Gamer Podcast. Austin, are you ready for this? You excited?
Yeah.
All right. So as of this week, as we all know, we have the next gen consoles coming out this November.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we don't know yet on PlayStation, but definitely confirmed November for them, probably November for PlayStation as well.
Yeah.
But somewhere around the holiday season,
November 13th, some have speculated.
Yes, including the Inner Gamer.
Yep.
Yes. So we have consoles coming out, and Microsoft decided to drop a bombshell and say that Halo Infinite, their flagship title that would have been the first console launch of Halo since the first Xbox, has been delayed to 2021. So Halo Infinite,
and I guarantee you it's a full year. It ain't going to be it's coming out in spring.
You think?
I guarantee you it's a full year.
Yeah.
Well, I was listening to Digital Foundry talk about, because they go in and look at all the lighting and stuff and talk about all the graphics. Yeah, they're like, it ain't going to be spring, and most likely it'll be a year, just because all the stuff that they need to fix.
Yeah.
Given that they're trying to make this Halo play on both consoles.
Yeah.
The Xbox One and the Xbox Series X. And they said that's just, you shouldn't do that. You got to go all in.
Yeah.
And that's why they have this. That's why it has its look. And that's why people are complaining about Halo, and that's why it's been delayed.
Yeah. Well, that's not confirmed though, but that's a speculation from them,
Right.
because
Well, I say that because the major backlash has been that, hey, these graphics look horrible.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of people out there. So I've been listening to a lot of people talk about this. And that was my opinion too. Is they're probably delaying it because of the speculation behind that. But then I've heard other people in the industry saying that, no, that's not it, because they do think the graphics look good. And the graphics are to the level of, because I think specifically, I was listening to a conversation. I was listening to the XCast actually with Gary Whitta and Alana Pierce and stuff like that. And Alana Pierce was saying that she thinks that she loved the look of the game. She thought it looked great. She was really excited about it. And she said the amount of hype that the Xbox team and 343 Studios was putting behind the game leading up to it led her to believe that they did not feel that there was anything wrong with the visual fidelity of this game, that there was going to be any concerns. And then when they got hit by it, they were like, fuck, this wasn't what we expected at all. Like, we think this game looks good, and it still, is going the way it's going. But I also think, dude, I mean, they did say in their statement that part of it was due to COVID, and that they had, issues with working on COVID and trying to get it out in time. And I remember I was listening to Phil Spencer talk yesterday, and his discussion with Gary Whitta on the Animal Talking podcast, which is very good. You should go check that out. He was saying, they asked him about the delay, and he said the decision to delay the game was made it was a 24-hour decision. 343 Studios came to Phil Spencer and was like, hey, here's where we're sitting at. And then they spent 24 hours trying to figure out what the hell we're going to do. And he was just like, fuck it, let's just push it back and move it on. And it was largely due to COVID. He didn't specify if it was due to the graphics, but they said that they had talked about releasing this game in parts as a solution to do this. So it was more of them trying to, it sounded to me like a lot of the reason behind the delay was that they didn't feel like the game would be complete to the level of quality they wanted it to be to bring it all out at launch. And they had gone back of well, let's release single player, then we'll release multiplayer later. Let's release this or release that. And they were playing with that idea, and they decided, no, let's just push it all back. We don't want to half-ass this. We need to get it right, and let's move it. So
that's the thing.
But yeah,
well, it's a good move. This is not a bad move.
Yeah,
and I think that it needs to be done. Whether it's the graphics or not and other things, which obviously we've talked about before, how 343 Studios does not have the best track record on the Halo franchise for, multiple reasons. But at the same time, the thing is everyone was looking forward to this. The reason why I bought the Xbox One was because I was getting Halo 5. Or sorry, Halo 4. Right?
Halo 5.
Halo 5.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And that's why I bought the console. I ended up just sitting there, and I ended up selling it because I didn't use it for anything else. Is that the potentiality of that being a high case for selling Xbox One consoles? In my mind, yes. And they're expecting to move consoles with this flagship title. It is not there anymore. They're doing the Game Pass that can play on both these consoles, and they're trying to, right now they're pushing that these games being made for the Xbox Series X can play on the Xbox One. What's the point of upgrading? That is my question. That's the reason for this conversation. Like, what's the point of really buying an Xbox One or a Series X console at this point?
Yeah.
I feel like there's no reason to. I mean, yeah, wait until Halo comes out, I guess. But even then, you can play it on Xbox One.
Yeah.
What's the point of getting a Series X? I could play it on PC. There's literally no point. And looking into how consoles have moved between Xbox and PlayStation over the years, starting with 360, because that was like the really big hitter one. I mean, it's crazy to see that the statistics I've looked at is that PlayStation end of its life cycle, and I guess that's at the point where they're not being made anymore. Up to that point, that PlayStation kind of won out overall in the end, even though 360 did such a good job, like early on, really getting that base down, really pushing those consoles, being the console to be on. And then looking at the sales now where it's 2-1 PlayStation, it's curious to see how those have kind of, it seems like Xbox is, I don't want to say just kind of let it happen. I don't think Xbox expected 360 to take off the way it did. And then coming into this generation, they've kind of like been very lackluster about all the things pushing. And I made a list of all these first party titles because I feel like at this point, Xbox is just Halo. It's its only leg to stand on for consoles, right? I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, yes,
it's the strongest leg.
It's a strong leg for certain people, but I still think that there's a very devoted Xbox fan base that buys Xbox because they're Xbox people, and that's just what they do.
True.
They have their gamer score, they have their history on the platform, and that's their console that they buy. So I think there's still, we want to make sure we give credit to that market that exists out there because they just, PlayStation exclusives or not, like they're Xbox fanboys and they're always going to be that way, just like we're PC fanboys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like there's definitely that out there, but I do think this is a big disappointment for. I mean, even Phil Spencer said he was like, we're not happy that we're doing this. Like he was like straight up, he was we are very disappointed that this is something that we have to do. But he was like, this is in the best interest for this game is for us to delay this game. And, we're missing the launch, but it's like, we talked about it and we're like, we want to get it right. We want this, that he was like, we want this to be the best Halo that anybody's ever played.
Right.
So to do that, we have to push it.
Yeah.
I was like, I respect that. I respect the way that, because I mean, his conversation that he had, like if I definitely think everybody should go listen to it because it like, before I came to this conversation, I was like, okay, Halo's done or Xbox is done. Like throw in the towel. Like we don't need Xbox around anymore. But the way in which he articulated their plan and like what they want to do with the Xbox and how they're looking at it, like they're not fighting. They have completely given in to the fact that there is no console war for them. Like he openly came out and said, he was like, I am very glad that Nintendo and Sony exist in this ecosystem because I think it makes us all better. Like that was one thing that he came out and said. He was like, I want Sony to be there in with us. I want Nintendo to be there because it allows us to all grow as an industry. And he's like, that's why I love this industry is because we can exist. And he's like, Cory Barlog's a friend of mine and that's a God of War creator for PlayStation. You know what I mean? So like he was very open and honest about their stance. And like he said, like one of the big things that they're doing with this is that, it sounded like they don't really care if the Xbox Series X really has a strong launch as much as they do care that they're building a system where they want people to be part of this Xbox community. They want people to be attached to it. And the more I thought about it, I was like, they kind of have, because before Game Pass, like we would never buy an Xbox console unless there was a Halo. And now they somehow have secretly gotten us into the Xbox ecosystem because we have Game Pass but we're PlayStation owners. We're going to buy the PlayStation 5. We're PC guys. We're going to stick on PlayStation on PC. But now they've secretly gotten us into we're Xbox players now. And it's without buying an Xbox. I'm like, that's kind of an interesting path because, like, you know, PlayStation leans into exclusive content, and they're like, we have The Last of Us, we have the Ratchet and Clanks, we have, you know, all these like Marvel Spider-Man, all these great games that come out that are really solid, and we're just all about the games. Then Nintendo is like, we're going a different direction. We don't have great graphics or anything like that, but we have these characters that you've fallen in love with for so long that are simple games that are made for everybody, that are super fun, and they're not fighting that fight either. So like, they're not part of a console war. At this point, it's like everybody's kind of carved out their own niche. And I think Xbox is kind of going that way too with like, we're not going to be the ones that are going to come out with the biggest exclusives anymore. We're going to be the ones that you basically buy us as a supplement to all the other things you do. So it's like, if you play Switch, you might also have an Xbox, or if you play PlayStation, you might also have Game Pass, because if you have a PC, like they're trying to like carve their own, I think, niche in there.
They're trying to win by not playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But then why have a console? My thing is, at one point you made first party exclusives to sell consoles, right?
Right.
Because I think I forgot. This is a while back ago. Someone was mentioning it was either the 360 or even now, like the PlayStation 4. Like they're just getting by on like, you're getting the console for, like, you're not getting premium for it. You're getting what it costs. And then you buy the games, and they make money that way. And then you get into the ecosystem where you get the, Xbox Live or PlayStation Plus, and you're in that, and they're getting money that way, because it has to come to a point where it's just like, you can't charge a console for like $700. Like, no one's just going to buy it. It's got to be at a certain price. So they're taking a loss technically by making, whether it was the Xbox 360 or the PlayStation 4, they're taking a loss. But you know what? You're doing that in order to get people to buy your console to play your games.
Yeah.
So my big thing is like, there's never been a real reason for me to buy, like, nothing stuck out like, I got to get an Xbox One. And now I don't need an Xbox One. I can just play on my PC. So like, where does that put Xbox at the end of the day? Yeah, they're going to sell 1 million consoles for sure. Like, I have no doubt about that. Yeah. But is that all? Like, at what point do they stop making those consoles? Like, when is it going to be on? I want to say the bargain bin, but they're just going to be sitting there for what? Like, what was the whole point of all of that? If, like, PlayStation sold 2-1 right now. There's a reason for them to keep making PlayStations. There's a reason. There's a reason why as soon as they go on pre-order, I'm buying a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Yes, a handful of people. Well, I won't say handful. There's a core base for Xbox for sure, and they're going to buy the newest, greatest Xbox. So they're just playing to win. Like, there's just no reason to have a console.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Like I said, it's a market that if you let that go, you're losing out on this number of sales,
right? That
you would normally they just want to maintain that sales base.
Yeah.
But now they're opening themselves up to more of a sales base, knowing that I think it's kind of a smart move, because this Game Pass is kind of like, people have been saying it's a silver bullet for them. Mm-hmm. And the reason is that it seems like they've come to the realization that they can't always compete against Sony and their powerhouse of studios that they have.
Right.
So if you can't compete against them, still make the console, because you build the hardware that people are going to buy because there is that fan base there. But then now they have Game Pass that helps supplement those that wouldn't have bought it. They're still going to get money off of them in another way. Yeah. And in this case, it's with Game Pass, because they can't release Game Pass on Xbox or on PlayStation. So they still need a place for people to play it on if they don't have a PC. So I think that's why they're making it, and I don't see them ever stopping making a console, because there's definitely reason to have it if you're a console player. But I think there's a lot of people that have an Xbox because they just prefer the Xbox, but then they buy a PlayStation for the exclusive. So I think they're different than our mindset, and that we buy a PlayStation for the exclusive, but we're PC people. I think there's also that same audience for Xbox, because they grew up on the Xbox, so they just continually buy Xbox because that's their console.
Right.
But then you have PlayStation exclusives that you want to play and dive into. So it is interesting. I think there is an argument to be made. It's like, maybe they should just stop doing it and just divert somewhere else. But I still think them putting out console, I think it's good for them to put out a console because it gives them, again, just competition for Sony too.
Yeah,
because they can still kind of have this like,
but I would argue
competitive
it's not
nature.
I mean, what competition is there really? I mean, 2-to-1 sales guarantee you at least half of those people are going to get a PlayStation 5 right off the bat. Well, okay, I won't say half, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be a good amount of people, I feel like.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the lineups aren't amazing, and now Xbox has no lineup. I mean, there's no reason to get an Xbox right now.
Yeah, but they're still selling though. I mean,
oh no, I'm not
sales, but like, it's not like they're not.
I mean, if you don't have
consoles.
a PC, if you don't have a PlayStation, or maybe you just want to supplement your PlayStation with Xbox, like if you don't have a PC, I can kind of see a reason of getting an Xbox.
Yeah.
Which makes sense
because it'll give you Game Pass. You know, you could. I mean, that alone is a huge deal. And if you like, I mean, you can spend $400 on an Xbox Series X or whatever it's going to cost, probably $400, $500 for an Xbox Series X, or spend $2,000 on a badass PC.
Yeah,
most people are going to buy the Series X instead, and then they have access to 1,000 games, and then they get the PlayStation because they have access to all the exclusives plus the VR content if they want VR. So there is that group of people that
there'll be people
that
for
stick
sure.
with that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like the thing that kind of baffled me is the fact that they killed the Series X or the their naming sucks. They need to fix the naming.
Xbox One X?
Yeah, the One X. Because they killed the One X and they kept the One S, which I think is a weird decision on that part because they also have there was some packaging that came out. So they officially, that was another thing that Phil Spencer did recently, is he just got this past Sunday the final production copy of the Series X at his house to unbox because he as the head of Xbox, like he wants to go through that experience. And now they're working on making sure that the experience of unboxing and plugging in and doing the whole thing is good. So he has the final production box shipped to his house. He got it. He's opened it up, went through the whole experience and set it up. So those boxes are out there, but so this isn't the box itself. There's just a little image of a controller, but on the controller in the back of it, they noted Xbox Series X or compatible with Xbox Series X, Xbox One, blah, 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 and then Xbox Series S. So this packaging confirmed that there is an Xbox Series X in production. So it's like, when is that? We don't know when that's coming out, but is it going to come out at launch? Will it come out next year? Like, how is that going to tie in? But if they're bringing out an Xbox Series S, is that going to replace the One X, or is that going to replace where is the power sit into the tree of that stuff? And that's what I'm kind of not clear on.
It's interesting,
but I mean, going back to the whole part of Halo, does this hurt Halo, the Series X? 100% it does. This is going to hurt sales. There's a large percentage of people that were going to buy this because they can play Halo Infinite, and Halo Infinite, graphics or not, there's a lot of people that are going to buy it because they love Halo and they want to play Halo, and it's definitely going to hurt that launch. So, and I Xbox knows that. They admitted they're not. This wasn't ideal for them, but it's just a situation they had to go with. But I'll be curious to see what they do to kind of help to mitigate that this holiday season, because the only real exclusives they have. Do you say you have a list of exclusives?
I do. So going back to 360.
360. Okay.
Yeah. Well, this is my whole point of right now, Halo is the only leg they have to stand on is because PlayStation is actively finding new legs to stand on.
Yeah.
New games that they can make, 2 or 3 titles out of and call it a day. They found the studios to do that. And I just want to compare Xbox to that because they've had their chance, because they have a lot of canceled games. And I think it began in 2018, maybe even 2017. We're like, hey, we got this game. Oh, it's been canceled. Oh, hey, we got this game. You've heard about it for years now. Oh, it's canceled. It's just like, what are y'all doing? And early on, for 360, the main ones were, Gear, Crackdown, Mass Effect, I believe at least it was on the list. I can't remember if that was actually 360 or not exclusive. Yeah. Fable and Forza. Well, Forza and Halo have always, and obviously Halo is on 362. There's always been their, legs to stand on. And then you go over to Xbox, you have Sunset Overdrive, Quantum Break, more Halo, more Gears, Dead Rising, I don't know what that one was. State of Decay, obviously. Apparently, Outer Wilds, and then Crackdown 3. I mean, you have these other. Over the years, they've brought out iterations of these games, and I felt like they just haven't. They haven't what's the word I'm looking for? Like nurtured these titles to be something to carry over. Like, Crackdown 3 sucked. Dead Rising, I think it was okay. Halo Wars was, if you had a console, I'm sure you loved it because it was an experience that you could only get on PC. They haven't had
a good first party title in a very long time.
Yeah.
Sea of Thieves was good eventually.
Yeah, but that's not
there has not been a good first party title. And I agree. I think that's definitely, that's as much as they're leaning into like Game Pass and stuff like that, I still think they need to try and lean into it, into the first party titles, because that sells consoles. It pushes consoles, but it also brings more like
excitement
devotion
to your brand.
And brand equity to your brand.
Right.
And Xbox has a weak brand equity or brand recognition or whatever behind games. Mm-hmm. Like they have a slew of quantity of games, but all of their titles are their brand titles are just
they're almost one-hit wonders to some degree.
Yeah,
they're just trying to carry that forward all this time.
Yeah, it's like all we've been hearing about since the first early days of Xbox is the same like handful of titles, which is Gears, Halo, Forza, Dead Rising, Crackdown, sort of, Fable. Like that's basically the Xbox lineup.
Everyone was excited about that new Fable trailer, but you know what? It's nothing to get hyped over. It's just like, okay,
don't know what the game is yet.
Exactly. That too. It's just like we've seen. Yeah, we're just kind of tired of it. It's just, at least for me. I was a devoted 360 Xbox fanboy, and then obviously there was that debate between PlayStation 4, Xbox S.
I'm on your side pretty much all the way as far as like I think there's still a reason to have. There's a reason to have it because of the people that are going to buy it, but like definitely this year, the PlayStation is the way to go if you want to get the quality console, because it's going to have first party exclusives that are going to be fucking awesome, and you're not going to get as much that. They have the Medium, I think, is a console exclusive that's coming out. But that's like really there's like two that are going to be on the Xbox Series X at launch.
Yeah.
So like you said, like nobody's going to buy it this year. The people that buy it are just going to, I don't know why they're going to buy it. They're going to buy it because
they want to.
Because they want to and stuff like that. It's a nice console. I honestly might buy it just because I want to see what it feels like. Like I want to get it and just experience the UI and stuff like that. And I like having like Game Pass is awesome. Like for me, like the only reason I'm back in Xbox is because of Game Pass. And there's some of those Game Pass games I don't want to be sitting on my computer. I want to sit on my couch. And for that reason, I would maybe get an Xbox. But I'm like the very tiny percentage of like the first adopters that helps to push consoles forward, but isn't going to like, we're a small percentage of people that's not going to make the thing amazing or whatever.
Yeah, it's not going to.
So... But PlayStation, like they have it all there. But I've been hearing rumors that's got me concerned is that I have not heard anything bad about how the Series X plays and how it runs games. People are like, it's awesome. Like it develops, like the games run great on it. It works really good. All that stuff is great. But I keep hearing little stories of things about people concerned about. I also hear people saying that the PlayStation 5 is awesome. And like, freaking Tim Sweeney came out, as much as we hate Epic Games, he did come out and say that this is a amazing console. Cory Barlog loves the console. Like a lot of people are loving this console, but then I've heard that some games it struggles playing native 4K, which is scary because like that's what the console is supposed to do is play native 4K.
Yeah.
Whereas like games like the same game runs way better on Series X than it is on PlayStation 5, and that's what some developers are saying right now. And
I've heard that too. Yeah.
Nervous about that, and that. Hopefully that's just a one-time thing, or who knows what it's going to be. But
you bring up a good point. Yeah, no, you have every reason to be concerned. We were talking about before this, like we turn on Ghost of Tsushima or The Last of Us 2, and man, it's a leaf blower. Like it's working hard.
Sounds terrible,
but it plays those games good. Even when I play Marvel's Avengers beta, like it's just the whole time, and there are some hiccups in frame rate. But you know what? It's easy to look over that because of the quality of game that you're getting.
As long as it's not blowing up, I'm good.
Exactly. Yeah. It's yet to be seen.
See an explosion on your screen. Your console blows
yet
up.
To be seen. We'll see what happens when it comes out. But still, if you told someone that, like, is that going to affect your reasoning to buy a PlayStation 5 day one? I guarantee you they'll be like, no.
Yeah, I'm saying. I
mean, we've already heard, like, we see the issues with the PlayStation 4, but we're still getting badass games.
Yeah,
you know, it's negligible at this point.
Yeah,
you know, great for Xbox. Like, that's awesome. They can just boom. But I think because of the way that the console's actually designed is probably why it's able to do that, because it can run hotter without, you know, being super loud or blowing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a great design. The console's a great design, even though it's a box. I mean,
right.
I know people rag on that, but honestly, like, it's a great design.
Yeah. No, I agree.
For ventilation, that is.
Yeah. What are you talking about, Xbox?
Yeah, Xbox.
Yeah. No, I think it's good. And it was interesting, you know, again, going back to that conversation with Gary Whitta, they asked him, like, what do you think about, like, you know, this is the first year in a while that usually it's like 2 black rectangles. And this year it's like you guys went for this more industrial, brutalist design for your Xbox. And then they went for this really radical, kind of futuristic looking design. Like, what do you think about that? And he's like, I really like the design of the PlayStation. I think they did a great job. It's like really good. Because like for them, it was like form following function. They wanted to make sure that this thing was quiet on your shelf. And like, you don't realize it's even there, even though it's a freaking powerhouse of technology, which I'm really anxious to see what it looks like when it's fully running. Because it does sound like it's a beast of a system.
Yeah.
But I hope PlayStation's also a beast of a system, but also doesn't sound like it's about to explode.
Yeah.
Because it's not a concern though. Because I mean, when I have my headphones on, noise canceling's turned on. It's like you can't even tell.
I mean, you have the volumes up.
Yeah.
You know, I just got a surround sound system, different one.
Nice.
Dad gave me some speakers he didn't want anymore.
Sweet.
And so, like, you turn that on, you can't even hear the PlayStation anymore. Right. You know, and it's just little things like that. Like, it matters, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And, you know, it is concerning for some people. They said that, you know, 60 frames per second on this beast of a console for Xbox is the standard. It's like, why? If you can go, I mean, yeah, they finally announced Halo multiplayer is going to be 122 or 120 hertz. It's like, great. Why isn't all games like that? And what's the reason for that? Is it because they run too hot? Or like, you know, if it's the beast of a console, it should be able to, it should be whatever. Just like unlock it 60 and over. You know, why not?
Yeah.
Why does it have to be standard 60?
Yeah. Well, I think that's one of those situations where it's, you know, PC people that own a PC have a little bit of an understanding of like you're going to get crashes, you're going to get frame rate dips and stuff like that. But if you're buying a console, you expect it to work.
Yeah, okay,
you know, 100%. Yeah. So if you lock it at 60, you avoid some of those frame rate dips, graphical issues, and quality degradations that could come from a higher console. Whereas PC players are used to that fluctuation because they are used to tinkering, they're used to upgrading, and
that's true.
So I think it's just a market. It's a different market.
We're in the weeds over here.
Yeah, but somebody was talking the other day. Is like I heard somebody ask a question. Oh, it was on MinMax. They submitted a question like, "What are the buzzwords that you absolutely hate? Like, what's a buzzword that is used in gaming that you just despise?"
VR ready.
Yeah, VR ready.
I hate that.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, well, obviously it's VR ready. It's it's a GTA 1060 or above. It's VR ready.
On like graphic cards and stuff like that. Yeah, it's so funny. Somebody was saying teraflops. I was like, that's so true.
Yeah, that is a good
because
one.
freaking like that sounds so gross. Like, it's like I got 12 teraflops.
Yeah.
Flops of what, you know? Like, I don't even know. But yeah, it's like that because nobody really understands like what that even means. Like, it's just the bigger the number, the better, I guess. But it's just such a term that's like, you know, I never really heard it for a while. And then all of a sudden now it's a thing that you hear all the time. And it's like the measure of success for the console is like, it's got 20 teraflops versus this one.
Yeah.
It's funny. That and immersion. That was somebody else. Somebody said they don't like the word immersion. Immersion, yeah. Which I like using immersion because it's like, yeah, this VR really immersed me in this world. Yeah. You know? But
well, usually the ones that say there's like high quality immersion usually don't have the immersion. It's the ones that don't go anywhere near that buzzword usually have it.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Right. But the Halo Infinite delay, you know, it sucks. It really sucks. I mean, it's definitely. I think so. I mean, you know, it's always weird because like console launches, like I don't remember a lot of console launches that stand out in any way. Like I never rushed out to be the first to get a 360 or whatever.
The Switch.
Yeah,
probably the first one for me.
The Switch, and that was, I mean, that right there. If you look at 2017 as far as a year for like a console launch, Switch I think probably had the best console launch year of like any game ever.
Yeah.
I mean, like the like powerhouse after powerhouse. Like we had Breath of the Wild and Super fucking Mario Odyssey in the same year. Same year we had State of Decay 2. No, that was next year. Sorry. But yeah, like all that stuff came out the same year, and I'm like, whoa, this is crazy that they like did so much. And then now we're in a year.
Did Smash come out that year?
Or was it following? It was the tail end of the next year.
Okay. Yeah.
I think so.
I think you're right.
But yeah, it was just amazing, like how much they hit that right. I remember looking back on PS4 because I bought PS4 day one. They had Killzone, they had Knack, and they had a shit ton of games from the last generation that were brought into this console. So like Injustice and Lego Marvel Superheroes and a couple others here and there. But there wasn't a lot of like first party games. But I want to get all the first party games. But Infamous was there, which is fucking awesome, and then so was Killzone. So there's a lot of good games there, but it was a small library it wasn't until like middle of the year, the next year, that it started to like hit its stride. So next year definitely is going to be interesting to see, because not only are we getting the stride of the next gen consoles, but we're finally starting. I mean, PlayStation Studios as a brand is a thing, and it's building up momentum.
Yeah.
And then we should start seeing next year the effects of the Microsoft Game Studio acquisitions they're hopefully starting to release their games, because all the studios that they picked up should at this point be like working on something that has been fully funded by Microsoft and either announcing it or releasing it in the next year.
Yeah.
We've already seen Hellblade 2 2, and then we've seen Fable, under Playground Games, and then a few others, State of Decay 3. Right. So we'll see what those yield.
Yeah.
But we've been saying that for a while with Microsoft.
Yeah. We're very hopeful. And, now I'm hearing this point is just like, well, what we got, Xbox? What we got?
Yeah.
Still not a lot of games to play on the Game Pass, even though I have it. But, I do
over 1,000 games, man.
I know. I don't play all of them. Actually, I don't think you can play all of them on PC.
No, that's true. You're right. You can't.
So anyway,
there you go. That's why you got to get an Xbox.
Right. Yeah. So I really want to play all those games. No, I mean, if you think about it, PlayStation, they have these great, awesome cinematic third-person adventures. That is their thing, right? And that is the leg they're standing on. And there are many legs under that belt. And then you got Nintendo, who have all these first-party titles that everyone loves.
Cute little platformers with cutesy characters and silly things.
And then the eShop, which they have a lot of these indie titles that are kind of similar to the games that they make, but they got this unique play style and feel and or experience that you can only get, that you prefer to play on that platform. And then Xbox. There's Xbox.
Yeah, Game Pass.
What I'm saying is, like, they don't have that unique, community of games that they can stand on, minus Halo and Forza.
Right.
So, I mean, I wish they would have something like that. Like Grounded and Deep Rock Galactic are great games, but it's not something that they're putting under them. I feel like if they pushed more into something like that, find these really interesting, unique games.
Well, Deep Rock's not even theirs, I don't think. I think that was it just happened to be at their showcase. I'm pretty sure.
No, it's first party exclusive.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, I think you get on Steam now.
Well, yeah, I mean, because we got it on Steam, but I didn't know it was a first party title. That's interesting.
That's what it said on this. Pull up a list of all these games.
Nice.
It said they're a first party title, but you know what? I think you can only play it on Steam, and or only play it on their console. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things.
Well, that's the thing that they started doing recently is they opened up to all their Xbox games. You can get it on
Steam.
Yeah, Steam.
Interesting.
No, they're published by Coffee Stain Studios. They don't have a reassociation with them.
Well, maybe the list was wrong or something.
I mean, it's an Xbox PC exclusive, but it's not like an Xbox published title.
Gotcha.
Like the other ones we're talking about.
I gotcha.
But
it is. Then I got confused.
It's like Cuphead, which was like a exclusive to the.
It was a console exclusive for a while.
Yeah.
And then it became you could buy it on Steam.
Yeah. Now you can get it on Switch.
Oh yeah. Oh, very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Well, I mean, Xbox still alive. It's still going to be a thing. It's still going to be going on. They're going to sell units for sure. It's just it's been the complaint I've had for a while. It's like I just want to have an Xbox again.
Yeah.
And I just don't have that desire anymore.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. Like I feel like we get it. If we want to get it, it's because of a game, and it's like there isn't a huge desire to pick it up anymore. And that sucks because like I like the Xbox brand. I appreciate what they do and everything, but it's just they haven't been able to deliver on that piece of it. But So yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm anxious to see what 2021 looks like. Obviously, we got Halo. I mean, they kind of could have dodged a bullet because by not having a Halo Infinite launch alongside Cyberpunk, like they could have a benefit there of owning next year if it really is a good game.
Yeah, but I mean, if they are farther along, releasing in the spring.
Yeah,
but I just don't think you should listen to Digital Foundry talk about the graphics. Yeah. It's interesting to hear these people.
I will.
They're like the go-to. They look at graphics and talk about it.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff from Foundry before. Yeah. I'll check it out. So. Well, awesome. That's going to wrap it up, everybody, for our discussion this week. Let us know what you think about the Halo Infinite delay. Were you going to buy an Xbox? And if so, does this affect your purchase decision, or are you going to buy it anyway? And if so, tell us why. Like, what is it about Xbox that's pulling you in? Is it just because you've been with Xbox a while? Is it the quality of the console? Is it the look of the console? Is it something else entirely? Like, let us know in the comments wherever you are listening or watching. You can always shoot us an email at hello@thenam.net and give us your feedback.